welcome to a new video of the Cruise Vibes and to another video about 24 hours on board of Excellence. This time we are on board of the Excellence Queen that we have seen in the last video, and we are going from Basel to Breisach and back, and here on the map you can see our route in this video. We are starting again early in the morning at the station Basel SBB, where the coaches picked us up and brought us to Rien. Rien is located north of Basel, still in Switzerland but very close to the German border, and there we visited a museum, an art museum which is called Fondation Beyerler. This is already part of the cruise, that is why we have 24 hours in 2 days. If you book a cruise with one night you usually just have around 12 to 14 hours on board, but here we are starting already in the morning with an excursion and now we are ending 24 hours later back in Basel. So this excursion brought us to an art museum, Fondation Beyerler. Of course only interesting if you are into art, so this is of course up to your personal taste. I cannot show you too much from the interior of the museum because I cannot really show the art on YouTube due to copyright laws, but it is a quite nice art museum, and after spending a bit of time there, the coaches brought us to the ship, which was docked in Basel. So this time we are going our scheduled route. Last time with the Excellence Empress we had to change, but this time we're going from Basel to Breisach and back as planned. So the coaches brought us to our ship, which was docked at the Lübeck Kai, which is not the most central docking location, but as the arrival with the bus is included, you do not really have to care about where the ship is docked. The closest docking location to the city would be St. Johann. After that is Lübeck, and the docking location that is the furthest away from the city center is called Dreiländereck. And here we can see our beautiful queen, and after we arrived with the coaches in front of the ship we were guided straight to the restaurant where lunch was already waiting for us. With Excellence you get lunch in form of a buffet with additional items that can be ordered from the menu. So soup and starter are always from the buffet, and then there are some main courses on the buffet as well, and some can be ordered from the menu. During lunch we already left the port of Basel, sailed past the Excellence Empress, the ship that we were on in the last Excellence videos, and headed for Breisach. Here you just saw a cabin on the middle deck with a French balcony, and this is my cabin on the lower deck with a non-opening window. It's slightly smaller but has everything you need. A very nice bathroom which is quite spacious, and I'm used to cabin bathrooms, especially on the lower deck of a river cruise ship, to have a very cold floor, but this ship seemed to have a heated floor because the floor was always very nice and warm. Additionally we have a lot of storage space in the bathroom and in the cabin itself, as you can see here. So it has a very big amount of storage space. As we already know from the Empress, the glasses can be found in the wardrobe, and there is also a minibar available, of course. So it is a very nice cabin. I personally do not need the French balcony, so for me these cabins on the lower deck are always suitable and good enough. We are now passing the lock of Camps. We had to wait quite a while in front of it until we could enter, and now we can watch going into the lock, down and out. In the time-lapse we were in the lock with another ship, as the lock of Camps is quite wide, so there's enough space for 2 ships next to each other. And here we are leaving the lock, first our neighbor, and then it's time for us to leave the lock. And just soon after we straight had the next lock of Ottmarsheim, and here we can also see a time lapse of us going down and leaving the lock. Straight behind the lock is a bridge. This is the highway A36, which is connecting Germany with France. Here you can see the bridge, and the highway on this bridge is heading in the direction of Paris. After the lock of Ottmarsheim, we are passing the industrial area of Chalampé. This is quite interesting if you're into industrial buildings. I would recommend going to the sun deck to watch this, because this is a quite impressive area. It's a huge industrial area. There are a lot of things to see. And there's also another highlight, which is the bridge of ShareAlike, because this is the lowest bridge on the Rhine. And this is the reason why sometimes when the water levels are too high, ships do not go to Basel but stop in Breisach, because they might not fit under the bridge of ShareAlike. And if they fit under it, there's still the risk that they do not fit on the way back. If the water level keeps rising, you might not fit under the bridge on the way back from Basel, and then you are actually trapped in Basel because there's no other port that you could go to. Here we can see this bridge. I think you can already now see that it is quite low compared to rivers like mine. My Danube Canal is still a quite high bridge, but I think you can see what I mean. It's pretty low, and we had perfect weather conditions regarding the water levels. So there was no low water, no high water. So this is like the standard height of this bridge. And you can see there's not too much space left, especially on the upper part of the sun deck. Here you can see we could have the railing still up, but there was not so much space between the railing and the bridge. And after the passing of this bridge, we were sailing past the former nuclear power plant of Fessenheim, and during the passing of the power plant it was also time for the welcome cocktail, where you get a free sparkling wine. And until the cocktail started, I went outside to watch the ship going into the next lock. This time this is the lock Fessenheim. And if you take a closer look to the lights on the left side, you can see how heavy the rain was. So the weather was not ideal for a cruise, so that was not the day where you would want to stay outside. But here in the front of the lounge you have a small roof, so it's covered, and here you can watch the ship going into the lock, because it's quite impressive. As you can see, there's not that much space, and you can also see how fast the ship is going into the lock. And I think you can see how difficult the job of the captain is to get the ship into this narrow locks. Together with the free sparkling wine, there's also some canapes for the welcome cocktail, and of course some words from the hotel manager, cruise director, and of course from the captain. And after that we were already down in the lock, and I was watching the ship leaving the lock, which is always, in my opinion, very impressive, especially if you're going under the gate of the lock. Always quite impressive to watch. And after that it was time for the dinner. If you remember my video from the Excellence Empress, you remember that I was very impressed by the food quality. So now let's see if the Empress is just a very good ship, or if it is an actual standard on board of the Excellence ships. And as you can see, it looks fantastic, and I can tell you the taste was amazing. So also here on the Queen, the food was living up to the name of the company. It was excellent, and the food quality on board of the Excellence ship is in generally very, very good and high above the industry standards. Here we can see the Excellence Countess, another cruise ship of Excellence, and in a few weeks I will also show you this cruise ship with a few more videos. We were now slowly approaching our destination, Breisach, where we just stopped for a couple of hours in the night. So, of course, it was not the reason to book this cruise to go to Breisach. The reason to book this cruise was to discover the ship and to maybe try if you like river cruising or not. There, of course, are also some other companies on this part of the Rhine. Here, in this case, we saw a ship of Lüftner. And here we are docked in Breisach, quite a bit away from the city center, so I didn't went into the city, but I just stepped out of the ship for a couple of minutes to take a few pictures and take a look at our ship docked in Breisach. But then I went back on board, as I wanted to spend as much time as possible on board of this wonderful river cruise ship. And after a nice evening in the lounge, it was time to go to sleep, but not before watching another Excellence ship passing by, which was the Excellence Princess. Another ship I haven't been on yet, so maybe there will be a chance to show it to you in the next year. And then it was time to head to my cabin, go to sleep, and in the next morning we were already on the last meters back to Basel, and it was time for breakfast. First I left my cabin, luggage was already collected and will be brought to the coaches, so I didn't have to care about this, and then instead I was enjoying my breakfast. After that, we waited in the lounge until the ship arrived. In the meantime, we were passing the Excellence Countess and Princess again, and then we also docked at our docking location, where the coaches were already waiting for us to bring us back to the station Basel SBB. And when we arrived there, the 24 hours were over and it was time to head back home. So that's it for this video and the short 24 hours on board of the Excellence Queen. I hope it was interesting for you. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video.